Hello beautiful and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where I am going to be ranking a bunch of products that I have been reviewing as of late. And this month, there is a lot of fails. There is a lot of products where I'm just like, I don't think you need this in your life. I'm also super excited because the beginning part of this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. So thank you so much HelloFresh for coming back and sponsoring another video on my channel. I have been using and loving and working with HelloFresh as well for years. This is a service that both of my husband love a lot. We've been using it for so many years. It's just such a convenient and for us both time and money saving service. HelloFresh allows you to pick from recipes online. There are 40 plus recipes each week. So many things to choose from. And there are also a bunch of add-on things like snacks, desserts, breakfast, everything to just keep things being as convenient as possible. And then they just ship it to your door pre-measured with ingredient card, with pictures. Listen, I love me some pictures, just telling me how things are supposed to look so that I never fail a HelloFresh dinner, and just saves me so much time. I don't know about you, but I don't hate cooking. I really do not. I actually kind of like the whole idea of like cooking with my husband. We're in the kitchen together, doing meals together. We almost always cook together, but I don't like going to the grocery store, and I really do not like the whole planning what to buy, planning what to eat. It's just too many days out of the week to be doing that. So with HelloFresh, all I have to do is log on to the website or to the app and just pick the recipes that look the best. It's like picking from a restaurant menu. The only difference is that you get to cook the meal yourself, and honestly, it always ends up being really delicious restaurant quality meals. And we cook 4 meals instead of 2, even though it's only me and my husband, and then we save it for the day after. I've said this for years, but one of the best ways of saving money on like groceries and on meals and food is to bring lunch or save lunch for the day after. Eating out or those pre-made meals or any kind of takeout, it just ends up costing a lot of money over time. So I really do recommend to just save some leftovers for the day after, and HelloFresh meals are always as good the day after as they are the day that we cook it. One of the things that I also really love about HelloFresh is that they have a lot of reoccurring favorite meals, but also some new and fresh favorites that are coming in, and they're always offering different meals that go with the season. And now we're getting into fall season, and I don't know about you, but we're getting into fall season, we're getting into harvest season, and some of my favorite ingredients are always available in different recipes throughout the fall season with HelloFresh. So I cannot wait to try all of these delicious things that are going to be coming up this fall. And that's just one of the things that I feel makes this box really great. It's that you get different kinds of recipes that follow the season so that you get ingredients that are in season right now. So go to hellofresh.com and use the code 50Angelica for 50% off plus free shipping. That is hellofresh.com and use the code 50Angelica for 50% off plus free shipping. You can also scan the little QR code that's been on the screen during this part and get some more info that way. And if nothing else, go to HelloFresh and check out their menu. They always have so many different things to choose from, and you can see the menu for each week even if you're not subscribed, just to see what kind of things they're offering, because this is the thing that made me and my husband go like, oh, this is definitely the one we're going with when we started out with HelloFresh years and years ago, is because they have so many delicious things to choose from. So definitely go in and see what they're offering. And thank you again HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. I am per usual one happy HelloFresh customer. So let's get into the ranking part of this video. And like I said, I do have quite a few things that I don't like. So if you have never watched any of these videos from before, I usually have a monthly haul where I show you all the things that I've added into my collection, either bought them myself or got them in PR, give you some initial thoughts of how I felt about them the first time I used them, show you some swatches, you know, all of that. And then I use the products for about a month, sometimes 2 months, sometimes a little bit shorter if I'm able to use them a bunch of times in a row. There's going to be a couple of products like that here. And then I come back about a month later and I just rank everything from absolute fail to new holy grail, just letting you know which products were my favorites and which one you really do not need to pick up. And of course, I will tell you some of these things are my preference as well. And I will let you know when I think I like it or I don't like it because of preference, or I like it, I don't like it because of quality. Because those are definitely two different things. And all of the things will be linked down below in the description box in the order that I mentioned them. for the most part, if you're wondering about anything. And I will always mark out which things I bought myself and which things were sent to me as PR, if that is something that you're interested in as well. And my makeup today, yes, I know, it's absolutely fabulous. I love it too. I did film this look and it's coming later on, and it is with a release that hasn't been announced or released yet, so I cannot really tell you what it is about, but I can let you know that you will see all about this look and some other things in just a little bit. I have quite a lot of products here to talk about, so I'm gonna try and not speed through them, but not talk about them too much. I say as I've already had the longest intro ever. At the bottom position, I am gonna put the Maybelline Super Stay 24 Hour Skin Tint. Okay, here's the thing. I don't even know if I think that this is a skin tint. It has more coverage than I think a skin tint should have. I also don't like that they are putting this under the Super Stay 24 Hours, because this one has the longevity of a lip balm. It is so sticky, so tacky. It does not dry down. It moves around on my face. And I just don't know what kind of skin type you have to make this last on you, because it is not transfer proof. It just is a greasy mess that's just laying on your skin. It turns glowy, oily, greasy within just half an hour, and it never dries down. I'm 39 and I have pretty like combo skin, leaning a little oily in my T-zone. For me, this was an absolute mess, and I think you will have to have pretty dry skin to be able to get away with this. And I also will say, like, it is shimmery. Like, can you see here the shimmer in the formula? Yeah, I think you can see a little there. Like, it's shimmery. So it's not for me. It's not my journey. I don't think that's a good product at all. Another good product that I have mentioned that I can't recommend, and this is from Lotte London. This is the Cheeky Glow Liquid Highlighter Wands. They dry down too quickly, so they're really hard to work with because they dry down and they honestly don't look that nice on the cheeks either. So it's just a bunch of hassle for a product that doesn't even look better than like a powder highlighter. I understand the hype about these products that have the little poofy poof, but this one just isn't a good product and I don't recommend it. And I don't care if it's like a drugstore product. Honestly, I don't know how much this is, but I would rather buy an ice cream than this one. The next one is going to be a product from BH Cosmetics. I actually have a bunch of BH Cosmetics products to talk about, and there are some that I just really, really do not like, and there are some that I think are absolutely amazing. I'm also wearing some of these products today on my face, and I will let you know about those as we get along. But this is the Feathered Lash Lift and Lengthen. This does nothing. It definitely does not lift or lengthen. It's just black water. I just don't think that that is a good product at all. And I feel the same about the Set and Bake Light Banana Powder. This is also from BH Cosmetics. I don't think that this sets, and it's definitely, this one turns, it doesn't mattify me. And like I said, I need a powder to set my makeup and to mattify me a little bit. And I feel like my base makeup or my skin eats this powder and it doesn't do what I need it to do. So for me, that is a miss. Okay, now we're gonna talk about this. I just think, okay, this is a nice setting spray, but this packaging, this is the Rick and Morty Glam Light setting spray. The packaging is amazing. It's like a beaker. It's just so cool. But this, it's just too intense. It ends up like attacking your face. It smells like a fresh skincare scent, and there's nothing wrong with the setting spray in itself, but I think the main reason that people will buy this is because of the packaging, and I think the sprayer is too attacky to be like an actually good product. Next, I'm gonna mention the new, I don't know if these are new, but I got this sent to me in PR from Lawless. This is the Lawless Forget the Filler Definer Liner. I got a full set of these, and I'm not 100% sure if this is a new product or if just they came up with new colors for the lipsticks that we're gonna mention way later in this video, because the lipsticks are great. This lip liner doesn't dry down. It is too creamy. It is almost a little tacky. It isn't transfer proof. So for me, this is just a glorified slim lipstick, and this is not the kind of lip liner formula that I like. So if you like a super creamy lip liner that stays creamy, maybe. But if you're like me and you want a lip liner that's not overly creamy and that actually dries down and like it's transfer proof, I don't think you'd like this either. I wasn't super impressed with these airbrush lipsticks from Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like this is the beginning and the end of my short visit on the Charlotte Tilbury PR list, but I didn't like this formula. I thought the formula, it goes on very smooth and moussey, but it doesn't dry down, which there's nothing wrong with, but it still creates like that rim that a formula that does dry down create. And there's something about this, I didn't love the formula. I think that there are definitely formulas that are moussey that feel like and look like this that I think are better on the market than this one. I didn't love this. Maybe I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. If you are balling on a budget and you find this in store, if you see this somewhere, it's not a horrible bronzer, but I didn't love the bronzer from BH Cosmetics. This is the Full Heat Matte Bronzer, and this one is in Tan Tuscany. The way that I feel about this bronzer is that I feel like it goes on, like where you put your brush down, you're gonna get the most bronzer, and I feel like it wasn't super blendable. I don't think that that is necessarily a super big problem, but there are other bronzers that I like more than this one at a similar price range. Like I said, I did try quite a few products that BH Cosmetics released as of late, and these were just the products that I didn't love. Together with this one, and this one could be the color. This is the Flawless Brow Filler Microblade Pen. This is a brush tip applicator, which is great, but it only comes in a couple of colors. And I also will say, I think the formula is a little bit too, I don't know if you can see the problem, it's just a little bit too opaque. I think that a brow product needs to be just a little sheerer than this so that you don't get like, you don't want Sharpie brows, and even if you're drawing in hairs, it just ends up being a little bit too distinct. It needs to be a little bit more transparency in the formula, and I also think the 3 colors is just not enough. There's technically nothing wrong with this. This is a preference thing, so I'm putting this not at the bottom because there's nothing wrong with the formula. It's just that I can't do plumping. So this is the Give Beauty, it's a plumping lip balm. Spark the Fire Plumping Lip Balm in LOL. It smells like a sweet, almost like butterscotch. It looks really beautiful on the lips, but it's a very stingy plumping formula, and I don't love that. I love a bunch of products from Give Beauty. I just really was hoping that it wasn't going to be this intense of a plumper. I just can't do it. But if you love a plumper and you want to have a balm instead of those plumping lip glosses, maybe this could be for you. It comes in other colors as well. The packaging is beautiful. The formula, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It was too intense and too hurting for me. This is the Tarte Man Eater Blush and Glow Cheek Plump. So this is like almost like a glowy highlighter blush. And this one for me, I can make this one work, but there are other blush formulas that I like a lot more than this one. And the main reason being that you have to be so careful with this one because it so easily lifts whatever is underneath. So if you have foundation underneath, like, you have to be so careful. Like, I have to change up my technique and be so careful and blah, 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 because this formula is so wet and there's something in this wetness that lifts whatever is underneath. So I just have to babysit this formula. And there are so many great liquid formulas on the market that there's just really no need to be babysitting a formula like this. Just get a good formula instead. I do like that it's already shimmery. I think that's really nice, and I actually really hope that, like, Rare Beauty and Juvia's Place that has liquid blushes that I really like, I hope they release like glowy versions. Like, I would like that. I don't know if there's something wrong with this formula, or if this is just a preference thing, but these are the ColourPop cream blushes. I have it in Bali Baby, which I thought was going to be a good color for me. It's like a neutrally mauvey pink. And then I have it in Sunset. Well, I have all the colors, but these are the 2 that I've been using because I'm going to give the others away. This is Bali. No, this is Sunset Strip. My bad. This is the Bali one. These are very sheer. When I say sheer, I mean sheer capital letters. I try to use this with a finger and it doesn't even show up on the skin. I have to use this with either you can't use it with a finger. Like, I have to put it on some kind of a brush or something that doesn't soak up the product, because it is very sheer, and it's so sheer, and it's also very matte, and it dries down, which is nice. Like I said, I have somewhat oily skin, so I like a formula that dries down, but it dries down also in the compact, so you kind of have to work your way through like the top, which is not my favorite. It feels a little bit like frosting, and it's so sheer that I thought, like I said, I thought this was gonna be my color, but this doesn't show up on my skin. So I had to go in with a color that was usually like a color that I thought was gonna be for a deeper skin tone than mine, but for it to like really show up on me the way I wanted it to, I had to choose a darker color because it is so sheer. If you love a sheer blush, maybe this is perfect. Personally, it's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I think ColourPop has some great blushes. This just isn't my favorite. How many times have I said favorite? And speaking of ColourPop, I also want to mention the ColourPop and Naruto palette. This palette just isn't for me. I think the color story is very toned down in a way that also it's not super exciting for me because there's one blue and it is one of those metallics with encapsulated micro like glitter in it, which is not my favorite formula from ColourPop. It's okay, not my favorite, but it's also like the colors that are a little poppy are metallics, and there's like nothing that really speaks to me in the matte compartment. And I also will say, when I have used this palette, I don't think the mattes are as good in this collab palette as they were in the Korra palette or as they were in the Avatar The Last Airbender palette. Those two palettes have like really high quality shadows. These are okay, they're mid. They're mid, they're okay. If Naruto is your absolute favorite like thing and you want to get something for that reason, I will say get the lip oil or get the Super Shock shadow. But if you want to get the eyeshadow palette, it's not a bad eyeshadow palette, but don't get it for the eyeshadow palette itself. ColourPop has so many better palettes than this one. And these are I've been trying these for so long, but I've been trying to like figure out what is it about these LH Cosmetics bronzers that makes me not love them. So I have them in two shades. This is Luminous, which is the darker one, and you would think that this would just be way too dark for me and that this would be my color in, oh sorry, it's a luminous finish. This isn't always, this is in Beyond. So this is the darker one and this is Luminous, which is the lighter one. They are so, again, very sheer, and they're also not super easy to pick up with a brush. So the sheer formula together with that they are, you can't pick them up with like a really, like you need some kind of firmness in the brushes or a natural bristle brush or a bristle brush that emulates natural bristles. It's just, I have to use so much for it to show up on my skin, and it's not my favorite. I do like a buildable formula, but I think that this is just a little bit too sheer to be my favorite. If you love a super sheer bronzer and you like a luminous finish, you might really enjoy these. These are just more a preference thing. I just like a little bit more pigment in my bronzers personally. Okay, let's move on to the other pile of products. There are products that I really like, but I don't think they're gonna be like my favorite, like you're not gonna see them in my yearly favorites. That's where I'm at with these products. And these actually include some products that surprised me a little bit, where like my first impression has changed a little bit. And what I wanna mention first is the highlighter palettes from the Glamlight and Hershey collections. This is the one that is it's not white chocolate, it's the cookies and cream. I keep saying the wrong thing. This is actually the only Hershey chocolate that I actually like. The other Hershey, like it's not for me. It's not my favorite chocolate. I do like this one. It is a little sparkly and I used to love a sparkly highlighter, but as of late, I've changed my mind a little bit. And this is more of a preference thing. This one is called the Hershey Milk Chocolate Face and Body Bronzer. And this is not a bronzer in my humble opinion. These are two darker, very sparkly highlighters. And again, they're sparkly, they're very sparkly, and they're beautiful and they're high shine, but this is just a personal preference. Right now, where I'm at right now, I actually don't love a glittery highlighter, and I used to love that. If you've been on my channel a while, you know I used to love a glittery highlighter, but right now, I'm leaning a little bit more to like just the glow highlighters. I'm actually wearing a highlighter that we're going to be talking about later. These are fine. I'm just ranking them a little bit lower, and I feel the exact same way about the Makeup Forever Artist Highlighter. This one, it's really pretty, and with this one, you can buff the sparkles away. This one is the newest one. It's an Anywhere Glimmer. It's just a little sparkly, and I am surprised that Makeup Forever is putting out a sparkly highlighter like this one. It's a little bit surprising. I'm gonna say. Then I'm gonna mention the Glamlight and Hershey Milk Chocolate palette. There is nothing wrong with the quality of this palette. I wish there was something in here that was very pale, something that could be contrast, something that could be inner corner highlight, but I do like the colors in here. They're good quality. It's just a very predictable brown palette. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with the quality. If you're looking for something like that, Glamlight is fairly affordable. I do have a code with them as well. I do have a code with a couple of these things, and I will leave that down below in the description box. It's just not going to be one of my favorites. We're going to mention the other palette though in a bit, because that one is really beautiful. This is actually one that I've been trying out for a bit, and I do like the quality of this one. I just don't love the color. This is the BH Cosmetics Summer Heat Cream Bronzer. I have it in fair to light, and the only you can see this is like my skin color, but it does show up on me, but it's very yellow tone. If you are looking for super light bronzer that is more golden, this one could be for you. The quality is really nice. It's just not the right color, and it doesn't look perfect on me. And when I looked at the one, because when I looked on the website, I'm like, this one looks like it's gonna be too light, but the medium one looked way too dark for me on the website. So I just wish that this one had more colors and maybe a better color selection. Nothing wrong with the quality, it's just not a great color selection. Now we're gonna get into something that I've changed my mind about. And first time I used this, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I still think that this is beautiful, but not everywhere. And this is the Juvia's Place bronzer. This comes in a compact like this, and you open it up and the bronzer is in here. I have it in Honey, which I think is the second to lightest. There's a bunch of colors in this one. I do like the undertone of this one. I would say the undertone is a light to medium with a golden undertone. I think it looks beautiful. This one has a lot of tiny gold sparkle in it, which looks beautiful when you just use it on your like cheeks here, because it almost looks like a luminous bronzer. Like you don't even need a highlighter. You can just use this with a sponge and just sponge it in, and it looks beautiful. When I use this on other places, in my forehead, sometimes, like for me, I get pretty tan on my body, but then my face and my neck, not so much. They're literally 2 or 3 shades lighter than my body. When I try to use this on my neck just looks glittery. It looks like I've been in a battle with Christmas decorations. It's just not good. On my cheek, it looks beautiful because it gets that highlighty effect, but anywhere else, it looks really bad. So if you want to have a bronze highlighter product all in one and you just use it on your cheeks, it's beautiful. Anywhere else, not so much. So this is like, I love it when I use it correctly, but this cannot be the only bronzer I use, because I will look like I've been in an accident with the 70s disco era. This is a product that I think is a beautiful product with a beautiful quality. I just think that I will not get the proper use out of this one. And this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Pressed Powder. I have it in neutral. This one, I think that this will be a perfect powder for dry skin people, because on me this one looks almost a little, and I can see it when I look at it, it's almost got a little luminosity to it. It is baked. It looks very fresh on the skin. If you like to set your entire face but you have a little bit more dry skin and you don't want to look matte, I think this will be perfect for you. It does look really nice. I just need something that's a little bit more mattifying in my T-zone. This will not work in my T-zone because I don't think it sets enough for my oily T-zone. But overall, I think the quality is really beautiful. I'm just gonna put in the e.l.f. exfoliating stick here. I've even used this today. This one, it's just called Coffee. I got the coffee one. This works the way it should. Like, you scrub it on. Like, you scrub your lips together. There is like sugar particles in here and they literally just melt away, or you can wipe it off. If you just let them melt into your lips, you get like a lip balm afterwards. For me, I'm just gonna put this in the mid because there's nothing wrong with this product, but I don't think that it's like an extremely exfoliating product that really like resets my lips when they need to. So I don't know. How much am I gonna use this? This is why it's mid. Did I need this? No. How much am I gonna use it? Was this needed? Did I need this? And if you really have chapped lips, will this help? This is what I'm asking myself. I think that the quality of this palette is really nice, and I also really enjoy the things that I've done with this palette, and I think the quality is really nice, but we have to be honest with each other. How much am I going to use this? This is the mini Starlit, yes, Starlit palette by Natasha Denona. This one is so similar in color story to the new I Need a Nude palette. In my I Need a Nude palette review, and I'm still reviewing that palette, I will have that in my next rankings. I did put up comparing swatches with this one and that one, and they are very similar in tones. There are no dupes, but they're similar in tones. So if you wanted the I Need a Nude palette, but you didn't want to spend that money, you wanted something smaller, maybe try this one out. They have a very similar feel to them. I'm just, as you can tell with the makeup I'm wearing today, I'm just always leaning towards more colorful makeup, but I gotta say the quality of this one is really beautiful, and I love Natasha Denona quality, so I don't think you'll be disappointed if you look at this color story and you're like, this is perfect for me. This is the I Wear in Sunflower by Victoria Beckham. Why did I buy an eyeshadow stick that's this expensive? Because it is this beautiful muted yellow that's just honestly stunning. The quality of this one, I think I've used it at least once on my channel, is stunning. It is very opaque, it's very blendable, it's very high quality, it sets down. It is just really beautiful. You can use it as an eyeshadow base, but it is so expensive that part of me is like, is there any way that I can like really recommend such an expensive product as this to you? I don't know. But on the other hand, when luxury brands like Victoria Beckham do really colorful shadow, do really things that really appeal to me, I kind of want to pick them up and let you know. So yes, this is an incredible quality, and in a way, I have to say, like, this is an A+ product. It's beautiful, it's opaque, it's long wear, it's easy to blend, it's really pretty, it's everything that it says it's gonna be. But it's also very expensive. So I'm like, I don't know, I battle with these things sometimes. But it is great. And I have used it quite a few times actually. So maybe I should be nicer to this one. Sometimes I find it hard. High-end makeup, I can swallow it. But sometimes I'm like, could I have been able to get this result with less money? Probably. I have another color of these somewhere as well, but this is the liquid lipsticks. These are the Velveteen liquid lip colors from Lisa Eldridge. I like these more than I like the ones from Charlotte Tilbury. These ones do dry down and they don't give me that rim. They are actually really, really pretty on the lips, but they do 100% dry down, and it is inevitable for something like that to feel a little drying over time. So I will say, when I use these and I wear them for a full day, I do, you do that little, when you try to like just wet your lips a little bit after a couple of hours, because it does turn a little dry. Is it cracking? No. Is it bleeding? No. Is it transferring? No. So it is a good quality product, but I can't help to feel that I am over the liquid lipsticks that dry down matte. There is something about me that's just like, I don't know if I'm that person anymore. But it is a high quality matte liquid lipstick. I'm realizing that even with the great formulas, I'm still like, I don't know if these are for me. This is the Sun Flushed Liquid Blusher from BH Cosmetics. This is a really beautiful liquid blush. It comes in a little like this, so it's very easy to only get a little bit of color out. I don't know what color this is because unfortunately it doesn't say anything on here, but it is the peachy one. It is literally this color. This one, the thing that I like about this is that it is very sheer. And I did not have any problem applying this on top of my foundation and not making it look bad. And if you want to try liquid blusher and you feel like those that are from Nyqvist Place or those that are from Rare Beauty, they're just too pigmented and you're afraid that you're gonna be using too much, I think that these ones are really easy to work with, and I was able to build them up a little bit as well, and they're very affordable. Me personally, I like something that's a little bit more pigmented, but I realized that there are people out there that like something that is not as pigmented. And one thing that I was sent actually from Charlotte Tilbury when I got PR from her is the matte beauty blush wands, and I have this one in Pillow Talk. I did not buy these because I usually do not do a matte blush, and I was like, there's no point in me buying a formula that's meant to be matte when I'm always gonna make it shimmery, when I already have her shimmery formula. With that being said, this is a beautiful formula. This is a really nice formula. I think it works really good, and you can see it has a little bit more pigmentation than the one from BH Cosmetics. So again, if you like a matte cheek and you want to have a liquid blush and you want to have something that's not as pigmented as the Rare Beauty, but maybe not as sheer as this one, these are really nice, but they're also very expensive. And personally, I just prefer something that's a little bit shimmery, if I'm gonna be honest. And this is something that I would apply on top if I'm using a matte liquid blush. I like to mix them with a liquid highlighter. This one is from Juvia's Place. It comes with a little doe foot. I have mine in light ivory. I think this is the second lightest. That's usually what I do. And I think that this one gives a really nice, just high shine, wet glow. Personally, I have products that give more of a glow than this, and that gives more of a, it looks like just wet on your skin. This one doesn't exactly do that, but I still think it is a really good liquid highlighter from the drugstore. Not as good as some of the more expensive ones I have, but I still think it's a good one. I'm gonna talk about one that I have that I love even more than this one, but I still think it's nice. And if you wanted to try a liquid highlighter from the drugstore, you can find this at Ulta. It's fairly affordable. Just as I said, we had quite a few products that I didn't love this month. We also have quite a few products that are really, really nice. So all of the products that I'm gonna mention now are products that I really enjoy, that I really reach for, and that I am gonna continue to use and really enjoy. Now we're getting into like petty little details, sometimes just preferences, or things I think I'm gonna be reaching for more than others. And this is, again, these are petty. These are great. These are from Makeup Revolution. These are the Streamline eyeliners. I have it in yellow and orange. These are matte colors, and I also have the green one that's like, I don't know, floating around here somewhere. These are really nice, and the only thing that I'm putting in like a little petty is that they are very creamy to the point that it takes quite a while for them to like dry down. But I also feel like they're almost like waxy oily in a good way. So for me, they stay in the waterline. They don't get like, water does not break them down. I think that these are really nice. If you're looking for affordable eyeliners, I would check these out from Makeup Revolution. And also, again, we're getting into petty business. This is a great blush, but there has been a lot of really good blushes, and I'm also thinking like money-wise. So this is the Artist Blush in Hot Lava from Makeup Forever. Am I gonna keep using this? Definitely. It's beautiful. It's a orange with a sheen. What's not to love? But it's also fairly expensive, and sometimes I think that like, if you can get a similar or sometimes better result with less money, it's hard to motivate it. It's also very similar to Taj Mahal by NARS, which I already own. So it's like, I bought a blush I already own. It's great though. I think it is beautiful, but like, just for me, I'm like, did I need this? No. I mean, it was orange, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to stop myself, but I'm just letting you know that there's nothing boggling over this release. It's just like, it's a nice blush. There's some sheen to it, but like, it's nothing that I haven't seen before. This is the Say Beauty Glow Sculpt in Peach Glow. I think this one is really beautiful. And again, we're getting into petty details. This is like a moussey cream that has a glow to it. I like applying cream products with my fingers. This one works so much better with a brush than with my fingers. So again, we're getting into petty details. Is it a problem for me to apply this with a brush? No, it is not. It's nice though. This color is very much a pinky coral, and I prefer the more orangey glowing thing. So there's nothing wrong with this. It's just petty things. I do think it's beautiful, and I like the packaging. It's a nice like magnetic closure. It's really beautiful. Next, we're getting more blushes. And this is the Give Beauty Feeling Cheeky Amplified Blush Duo. This is in Flirty Talk. This one is not, let me show you. It is not as orange as the Hot Lava, which is like more, you can see there's more yellow in this one, so it's definitely more my style, this color. But I really do enjoy that there are two different formulas and two different depths in this one. There is a matte one that's a little darker, and then there is a lighter one that is a shimmer, and it is a light almost effortless, not highlighter shimmer, but more like a silky, it gives a glow, but it's not a highlighter. And I do appreciate that formula a lot. I will say, that smell, the My Little Pony's Cancer Just like plastic smell, it's here. I don't love it. I can see beyond it, but I wish it didn't have it. But I do like this one, and I like there are two different formulas. But again, is it my favorite blush formula? No. Now I'm gonna mention the Nyqvist Cosmetics Sugar and Spice palette. And I think that this is a really nice cool toned neutral palette, because these are more cool toned neutrals with a bunch of different pops. Either like there's a multi-chrome, there's some pastel masks, there are pastel shimmers, there are duochrome toppers, there's more neutral shades here. The quality is really nice, but for me, this isn't going to be a palette I reach for, because all of the mattes are either very light or very cool toned, and I don't love when they turn too gray taupe on me. Again, I have more of a golden undertone, so for me, of course, shadows that are not necessarily super cool tone do end up looking pretty cool tone on me, but I think the quality is really beautiful in this one, and I also really like the layout of this palette with the neutrals in the middle, and then just, arranging the colors and the pops around it. I think that's really beautiful. It goes a black to an almost white. I think there is a lot of potential in this palette. It's just not the perfect neutral palette for me, because there's nothing... I just like something that's a little warmer in the crease when it comes to neutrals. That's why I like the Fighter palette from Fantasy Cosmetica a little bit more for me. There's a similar vibe to this one, that it is neutral mattes, and then but this is more neutral shimmers, but there are like different twists and turns to these. There are some duochromes, like this one has like a blue, almost like, see, it's like a plum with like a blue duochrome topper. There are some like colored shimmers in here, like this one here has like lavender shimmer particles in it. There's definitely some different takes on neutrals here. Again, it's a gray here. I'm never gonna be using the gray. That's not my favorite, but there's a mustard here, so I can make this lean a little bit warmer on me, which is what I prefer when it comes to neutrals. I think this is a neutral palette done very well, honestly. I don't even know if this is a neutral palette, but I'm still gonna mention the Hershey Cookies and Cream with Glam Light. This one, again, there is a mustard here. I can take it warmer if I want to, but there are blues here, like straight up blues. I thought these were gonna be grays, but they turned very blue on me. And there's also like some blue shimmers, and this one is like a iridescent topper with like a baby blue sheen. Very pretty. Really enjoy the quality of this one. And this one has something that not all Glam Light palettes have, is that they go very dark to very light, which is something that I like. This palette surprised me. I think that this is the best thing in the Hershey collab that they released now. And this is miles better than the last Hershey collab that they did, that I honestly didn't love and actually decluttered. This one, I really like. It's really hard for me to rank the rest of the things that are here, because I just really enjoy all of these, honestly. And I think I'm actually gonna rank this one here. This is the Iconic London Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I think this one is really great, but it is not as good as the Fenty Eavesdrop Skin Tint. That one is my favorite skin tint, and these are very similar in how they go on, coverage, and how they look on the skin, but the Fenty Eavesdrop Skin Tint, the liquid one, just have a longer longevity than this one and just looks better throughout the day. So for that reason, I do prefer that one, but I still think that this one is a really good product, and I am going to keep on using it. This is the Huda Beauty corrector, faux filter, color corrector. Fun fact, the Huda Beauty faux filter concealer is my favorite concealer in my collection. I think it is a beautiful concealer, and that's the reason why I decided to pick up this corrector. I got it in peach because like sometimes I do be not sleeping enough, so a little corrector could be good. And the reason why I wanted to buy this is because I love the other formula so much, so I was hoping that this was going to be a similar formula. And it is. This is a really good color corrector. I feel like sometimes with color correctors, they come in those pots, they come in the pans, and they are just very creamy. which is nice because a lot of people have a dry under eyes and they need something really creamy. For me, they just end up being a little rich, and sometimes they end up getting my concealer to crease. This one isn't that. This is a thinner formula. It is not drying, but it's just a thinner formula, so it doesn't end up getting my concealer to crease, which is nice. I don't want a creasing under eye, so I think this one is a really good corrector if you, like me, prefer a concealer that has a lighter, more liquidy consistency. I mentioned this one before, and I think this one is beautiful, and the only reason that this is mentioned in this space is because I don't reach for these kind of dropper. I wish that this one came in that kind of packaging that Nyqvist place had with the doe foot, because it just makes it so much easier to work with. These like dropper things, I just don't love it. This is a very nice liquid illuminator though. This is the iconic London illuminator, and this one is in the original. Yes, it comes in other shades as well, but this is a beautiful high shine liquid illuminator that dries down and it blends beautifully. It's not glittery. You can blend it with your foundation, you can blend it with your liquid blush if you want to have a glowy blush. I think it is a beautiful formula. I just wish it came in a different packaging, because honestly, this is great. This is a great formula, and I totally understand. This one went very viral when they released this a couple of years ago, and I totally understand why, because this is a fantastic like product. I just wish it had a different packaging. This product is fairly new in my collection, and I've only had this for, I want to say like 2 weeks or something, but I've been using this so much that I really feel like I'm ready to review it, and that is the Lunar Beauty powders. These are really good. They really lock in your makeup and they make your makeup stay on for a really long time. I will say that sometimes if I have a foundation that's not a matte foundation, I do have to go in with a little bit more of a even more mattifying powder than this, just in my T-zone, to make sure that I'm not going to end up being super shiny. But this is a powder that works good under my eyes and on my entire face, keeping my makeup locked in place, not making me crusty matte, not making my under eyes feel cakey, and it's very finely milled. It is just a very light and airy powder. I can even bake a little bit around my nose to just keep everything in place. So I think that this is a beautiful powder. I will say though, I live in Texas. It is very warm. It's very humid here in Austin. And if I have a foundation that's not a matte foundation, I do need to go in with something that's a little bit more matte than this, just in my T-zone. But honestly, it's a beautiful powder. I know I talked about that I bought this Bare Minerals highlighting blush in Peach Glow, and I've used this on my channel, and I ended up buying another shade when I had the friends and family 20% off at Sephora, because I wanted to make sure that a light color, this is the Peach Glow, performed the same as a darker color, and this one is in Mauve Glow. You can see the difference. And Mauve Glow is, I think, the darkest shade that they offer, and Peach Glow is one of the lighter shades that they offer. The way that this is supposed to work is that this is supposed to be a blush and highlighter hybrid, so that you can use this as a blush and a highlighter. And this one is very light on me. Like, it's very light. It has a slight peachy pink undertone that leaves a little bit of a blush on my cheeks, but I wanted to make sure that if I chose a color that was darker, that there was just a little bit more of a cast. So it's not just a highlighter, it actually works as a blush as well. And yes, this one does have a darker base than this one does, but they're not super dark or poppy or pigmented on the cheeks. They are more of a faint undertone with the glow. It is not a pigmented blush, but it's also not a super blinding highlighter. It's like a mix between the both, which gives a more subtle color with a subtle glow that I personally think is beautiful. I think this is a beautiful like formula. But if you like a super pigmented blush, or if you're still into that like high shine beaming highlighter, you might not like these, but they are very nicely formulated. I think they're beautiful. I mean, I have 2 colors and I regret nothing. This is the Gourmande Girls and Doodles by the Bunny Nightshade palette. I think that the color story of this palette is honestly quite astounding. It's a mix between neutrals and colors, and it is a mix between mattes and shimmers. There is some duochromes in here. There's some shifty shades, there's some metallics, there are different formulas within this palette. The only thing that makes me not like this palette, but the only thing that I would to change, if I could change anything with this palette, which I mean, this is a collab palette, this is somebody else's vision, but I don't think that the undertone of the green and the undertone of the yellow are the same, and I love mixing a yellow with a green. And since this one is a little bit more of a true green, almost leaning a little bit Kermit cool toned, and this one is a little bit more warmer, and it's not a true yellow. They're not the same undertone, so it's kind of hard to blend them together. So either would have wished that this one was a little bit more pastel, or this one was a little bit more warmer. It would have made them easier to like blend together to make like a yellow green crease. But again, it's definitely possible. I did that in my video. It just takes a little bit more effort, but that's just me. Again, I'm being petty, I'm being nitpicky. This doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things, but I think the palette is beautiful, and I think they did a really good job with this one. These lip liners by Unearthly Cosmetics are just absolutely beautiful. I cannot believe how affordable these are. They are under $10. Look at how long they are. You get so much product in them. I'm actually wearing the one, I think it's called Cafe today. It's this one, yeah, Cafe. I'm wearing that and then a gloss on top, and it's just a beautiful formula. This is what I mean. They're not overly creamy, but they're still very pigmented and easy to work with. You sharpen them yourself. You can see this is the one I used today, so that you can get a very sharp and precise line if you want to. They do dry down. They last so long on the lips. They're so affordable. You can even use a code and get even more money off. The only reason why these are not on top is because not all of these colors are perfect colors for me, but the fiery one, which is like a muted terracotta, I've used it so much, but some of these are very dark and plummy, and that's not usually the kind of lip colors that I personally use. So I wish that there would be even more lighter options in the future, but again, now we're getting into personal preferences. The quality of these are great. I don't know if I'll be able to show you all of these, but I put all of the Lawless new lipsticks here. These are so nice. I like these so much. So these are called the Lawless Beauty, what are these called? They're like the satin lipsticks or something. I'm not 100% sure. These are satin lipsticks. They're new. I did do a swatch video on my Instagram where I swatched all of these, and honestly, the formula of these are so great. They go from really light. Again, I am a light medium skin tone, so some of these are just pasty on me. This is my favorite. This is Tropic. It is like a muted coral. It's so beautiful. It's so comfortable. But let me see if I can show you some of these that are like super light. Oh, this one is so beautiful. This is Cookie. Look at this like warm brown. It's so beautiful. But let me see. Oh, this is Annie. This is light peach. But if you're fair, you can get some really nice nude colors for you. And there also are like Cookie and Morocco as well. Where did I put Morocco? Oh, here it is. This would be a lovely nude if you have a deeper skin tone. And honestly, for a website, they do swatch all of these shades on 3 different skin tones, and you can see that there are so many of these colors look great on a bunch of different skin tones. And even though I don't love those super pasty ones, I've gotten so many comments from you saying that you're so excited about those. And me, someone that is a light medium, I'm so excited about those shades in the middle. And like I said, there are some that are darker as well. So I do think that they were able to do a really good mix of colors, and the formula is just so nice. I am wearing this one today, and this is the Tarte Man Eater bronzer. You can see I've used up the entire tip. Just the tip. So this one I have in the color Sundown, which I think is shade number 2, not the lightest, but shade number 2. I would argue that this is almost as good as the Rare Beauty one, or maybe as good as the Rare Beauty one. It comes in more colors, I think. No, the Rare Beauty came out with more colors. Maybe they have equally as many, but honestly, I think this is beautiful. It looks great on the skin. It's so easy to apply sheerly or to build up more, to blend out. It does dry down completely. It lasts on me all day, and I think that this is one of the best releases that Tarte has done in a long time. I think this bronzer is great. And these are the BH Cosmetics products that I am the most excited about. I'll put these in the same spot because I'm equally as excited about them, but these are so affordable, and these are just as good or better than some high-end alternatives, and I really think you should check out these. This is the new Caribbean Sunset. This is a glowy blush. Look at that. Look at that glowy orange. Look at that. Look at that. Look. This is what I'm saying. You don't need to buy those expensive ones because there's one from BH Cosmetics. I know that this formula, the blush one, they had at least one more in the shimmery formula. I think it's a pink. And they had some matte options as well. I mean, they're great. And then this highlighter, this is the Sunflex Powder Highlighter. It is the highlighter that I have on my cheeks today. It is a wet formula, not sparkly, not glittery, super affordable. I have the color Beverly Hills. Why have I not taken this? I still have the sticker on for some reason. No wonder this one has been hard to open. So there's a BH in here. I have the shade Beverly Hills. I don't know if I said that. And it is stunning. It is super easy, creamy, easy to put on the cheeks, blends out, gives a super nice wet look. You can build it up if you use setting spray. You will get that blinding 2017-18 result. And it's so affordable. And I'm just like, I can't with good conscience be like, oh yeah, get some of the other ones. These are nice. These are really nice. The packaging is crap though, but like, the formula is nice. And I feel like this is like super unorthodox to do this, but I'm gonna put these concealers at the same place because I honestly, the last couple of days, I've been using these side by side, using the other, using one, using the other, trying to figure out which one I like the most, and I like them both. They have a different shade though. The one from Makeup Forever, this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Concealer. This is a better match for me. This is a light medium neutral. This one is the Tarte Shape Tape Radiant, which is a, not shimmery, but it definitely is a more liquidy, medium coverage concealer that has a little bit of a natural glow to it. But both of these are like light, serum-y, gel-like, more runny concealers. They're not overly creamy. They do not crease on me. They have a medium coverage. They look so fresh and lovely on my under eyes. And if you, like me, love something that's not too thick, not too cakey, not too rich, both of these are really, really nice. I recommend both of them. I got this one in PR and I bought the Tarte one myself. And honestly, same with the Tarte bronzer. Like, these are really, really good products and I've been liking them both. I'm wearing the Tarte one today in my under eyes. And like I said, I think it is a medium coverage. It's not creasy. It's not heavy. I did not have to use a bunch of powder to set it down. And it looks fresh and it looks human-like. It doesn't look like it's just a canvas of just blank. But it looks really nice. I really enjoy both of them. I think they're really good. Second place is the Rick and Morty and Glamlight. I'm sorry, I know it's a rainbow palette. It's big, it's humongous, but I really like this one. I think that this is one of the best color stories they've ever done. This is a rainbow palette, but it's so bright and it goes really dark and jewel tone. And then almost like acid citric, like this like green orange corner is just so interesting. And like I said, this is also something that Glamlight doesn't always do. They go really dark to really light. You don't always see that in Glamlight palettes. Plus this one is actually again, it's also one of those more light blue toppers, and it just gives this palette so much more contrast than some other Glamlight palettes have. And I love all the shimmer beautiful particles in these like shimmer formulas, and I've had so much fun with this one and I've created so many nice looks and I've really been enjoying this one. And honestly, if you are looking for a rainbow palette right now, I'd say this one because it's fun, it's different, it's good quality, there's options, there's depth. I really like this one, and yeah, it's just a palette that I've had a lot of fun with, and the front is really nice. There's a big mirror. I like it. And number one, the foundation that I have on right now, really love the Fenty Beauty is the Eavesdrop Blur and Smooth Tint Stick. I have mine in shade number 9, which is the shade that I have when I wear the liquid one as well. This is a stick foundation. I draw it on. I've noticed that I liked it personally. I like this the most with a sponge. I feel like it just presses it into my skin and just gives me a light to medium coverage that just looks fresh on the skin. It looks like skin. It looks like I'm having the best skin day ever, but you can still see some imperfections going through. But it's not imperfections, it's just skin. I actually kind of hate that we call it imperfections. I need a better word for it because it's not imperfections. It's just skin. But it's just evening out everything, making it look fresh and like skin, but it dries down. It dries down and it's not drying, and it's transfer proof and it's beautiful, and it's not as long wearing as the liquid one, but this one is so blendable that I could literally put this in my bag, do a little with my finger and just blur out. I think that this is honestly such a great product because it's so effortless. This is the best stick foundation I've ever tried. It goes on with fingers or with a sponge, and like you could just put a bit on in the morning, put this in your bag, just apply a little bit more if you need it to touch up throughout the day. You don't even need to set it with a powder unless you want to. I just feel like it's effortless. And people were asking me, what makeup are you bringing to Disney? Maybe this one, honestly, because I could bring it in my bag and just touch up and I'd be fine. This one, and I even have them here, my blotting sheets. I have the blotting sheets from Nomad Beauty. They're amazing. They're double the size and you get this really nice pouch. Maybe this, because honestly, I trust this foundation and I think it looks great, but doesn't look cakey or just too artificial, and I really, really, really enjoy it. It's a little bit more glowy and a little bit, it's almost like the eavesdrop, but maybe not only for oily skin people, because I've heard that the liquid eavesdrop, people with dry skin didn't love it, but I've heard people with dry skin love this one. I hope that this makes sense. But again, I have combo oily skin and I also love this one. I really like it. I really like it. I think it's beautiful. If you have the option to try it, I definitely recommend it. Let me know what you think about this ranking. These were so many products. Did I try anything that you don't agree with me? Did I try something that you do agree with me? Are you looking forward to my next ranking? Because I, of course, have another one coming in a little bit, and I will then be including some of the products that I'm trying now as of late. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you again, HelloFresh, for sponsoring the beginning part of the video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon again in a new video. Bye!